Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, my name is Dennis Hong.
Yeah.
Engineering is about solving problems. So engineering is to seek solutions, but art is the other way. Art asks questions. So the physical robot needs to follow the rules of physics, and we do analysis and optimization. And I truly believe that well-designed machines are sexy. Well-designed machines are sexy. I was so excited, like, this is fun. I have another idea. I want to do this. So I was like a kid in a candy store, in my lab.
Yeah.
We had, my friends, colleagues there to talk about things. There's machines, experiments on things. And yeah, I had a blast as a graduate student. I have a blast every day. Only one person in the entire world was never impressed with my magic. And that person is actually my wife. She's my wife now. I noticed that I'm most happy when I make other people happy. Like I started magic. Why? I want to wow people and entertain people. Why am I doing robotics? Because it's fun, yeah. To make money, not really. You don't become a professor if you want to make money. I truly, not only by our students, we truly believe that the technology that we build will benefit the society and make people happy. It might sound cheesy, but that's what we truly believe. And it's great, sharing love with your family, enjoying giving happiness. How cool is that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Andreas Orthey podcast. Today I have a very special guest. He's a guy who Hollywood is calling upon whenever they are in need of a robot, the legendary Dennis Hong.
Thanks for having me.
Dennis, thank you so much for your time. So a bit of background.
Yes.
You are currently a professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and also director of the Robotics and Mechanisms Laboratory.
That's correct. Also known as Romella.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Goes right off the tongue. Nice.
Very good.
So you have worked on many, many different topics, including autonomous driving, humanoid robotics, robot locomotion, kitchen automation, and some people even know you as a magician, a world-famous chef, and also an artist who just created
which is new. That's the new thing on my repertoire.
Your first exhibition.
Yes. Very exciting.
So a lot of things to talk about, but before we do that, I want to dive a little bit into your background.
Sure.
So I read that you were born in LA, but you mostly grew up in South Korea.
That is correct.
So when did you actually move to South Korea, and do you still remember parts of your childhood in America?
Yeah, so again, I was born in Palos Verdes near Los Angeles. And when I was 3 years old, our family moved to South Korea. So I actually grew up in Korea, was educated in Korea. To answer your question of do I remember, actually, believe it or not, I do remember my third birthday and Christmas. Now, how do I remember? If it was my birthday and it's not Korea, then it has to be United States, and then it has to be my third birthday. So I do have a memory. Well, one interesting thing. So some time ago, we actually visited the house that I grew up in, from born to the 3 years old. And when I went in there, they invited us. When I look around, I didn't recognize anything. And then I hunched down to the floor, and then I start to recognize things.
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
It was much smaller because that time I was, it looked much bigger. But I do recognize certain things because I was crawling around.
So your very first memory is basically of your of your third birthday party.
Yes,
in the house.
And then I remember the carpet, the fuzzy, the white, like cotton kind of thing. I used to put it on my face. So I do remember that. And it has to be my third year because.
and you have also a very, very nice origin story. Namely, when you were 7 years old, you visited LA again and you watched Star Wars.
Yes, true story.
I think that was really a core memory for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about this
first
moment?
of all, have you watched Star Wars?
I did, yeah.
Good, because if you said no, then I'm no podcast recording.
then you're out of here, yeah.
Yeah, so when I was 7 years old, I watched the movie Star Wars for the first time at the Mann's Chinese Theater on Hollywood. I was traveling with my family, and all the spaceships and the lightsaber completely blew my mind. And the two droids in the movie, R2-D2 and C-3PO, I completely fell in love with them. And on my way home to the hotel, in the car, I told my mom and dad, I'm going to grow up to become a robot scientist. And I followed that dream, and I'm here today. So Star Wars is not just my favorite movie. It's a movie that really gave me the dream. So it's something really, really dear to my heart. And as a matter of fact, again, in our lab, Romella, I actually counted all the numbers. We created more than 56 different robots. And if you look very, very carefully, you can see some form of R2-D2 or C-3PO in them. Subconsciously, I think. R2-D2 moves in many different ways. It rolls with wheels, can walk with 2 legs and 3 legs, multimodal locomotion. And if you look at some of our robots flip, climb, jump, and roll all different morphologies. And on the other hand, C-3PO is a humanoid robot. I was inspired by living and working in this human environment, helping people. And again, we're one of the lab's forefront, research stuff in humanoid robots. We created 16 different humanoid robots. So yes, Star Wars had a huge impact on me in so many different levels.
And after you said this, that you wanted to become a robot scientist to your parents, did also your childhood was your childhood affected by that? Did you search for hobbies which are preparing you for the stream?
Yeah. Or? So again, unfortunately, my father was but both my mom and dad are university professor. My dad is a very well-known engineer in Korea. He started the whole aerospace industry in Korea. So I had a chance to visit different labs, and if I had questions, my dad always helped me out. And
nice.
we built things at home, so that was my childhood. So. Among all the person that personally, I am probably the person furthest from sports. I don't play any sports. I'm that guy in the in the basement building.
You were building.
Yeah, I'm that kind of like the.
Yeah, nice. Do you still remember something which you built? In your basement?
So I still remember when I was elementary school, when my friends go out playing baseball and soccer. I was at home, and my favorite pastime is. Under my bed, I had 3 big cardboard boxes, and I call them the treasure chest. And what's in the boxes? These are broken toys. Like your mom and dad buys your toy, and then it breaks, you normally throw it away. No, I kept them in those boxes because my thing was I take out those boxes and I try to build something out of those broken pieces. And I got most excited when I make something wow, and then. The next day I go to school and show it to my friends because, sometimes there's this hot toy that everybody wants. That's not my thing. I wanted to have a toy that the only one in the entire world that's mine, right? So that's a unique thing. And I show it off to my students and, my friends say it's cool. So that was my pastime hobby.
Nice. And do you still remember what kind of toys?
Yeah, like a bazooka using a pipe with a broken a pistol thing, and I put a speaker with a small amp and a big sound.
All right.
Or all different type of spaceships and vehicles using plastic parts and things.
I imagine you must have been the hero in the school, right?
Oh yeah, I bring every few days check this out. Everybody surrounds me. Yeah, I enjoyed that very much.
And then you started your career at Korea University in Seoul.
That is
right?
correct. So from kindergarten to the third year of Korea University, and then I actually transferred I came back to the States. I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, and then I did my master and PhD at Purdue University. And right after PhD, Virginia Tech hired me as a professor. So I was there for 11 years as a professor, and then it's been 11 years since I moved to UCLA, and I'm here.
Yeah, and during your PhD, what did you work on?
So all through my training was in all mechanical engineering. So I am more in the mechanisms, the kinematic side of things when I did my work. But of course, these days we do everything, right? In robotics, you need everything. Mechanical engineering, computer science, electrical engineering, all the stuff. Autonomy. So we cover everything. But I'm classically trained in more of the mechanical side of things. My PhD was about multi-contact force distribution. So for example, we have a multi-limb robot trying to climb cliffs. You need to figure out how much force to exert in which direction, how much so you don't tip and don't slip, friction constraints. So how do you calculate and get the force? That was my main thing, which is also applicable for grasping as well. So from climbing, if you invert it, is grasping. So that's what I did for my PhD.
Interesting.
Another, this kind of embarrassing. But so again, I did my master's and PhD at Purdue. I might be, I don't have the actual data. I might be the longest master's because, when I was a master's student, this is funny. I do things, I publish conferences. I have another idea. I do things. And so I worked on so many completely different projects. And one day my professor, our advisor, wanted to talk to me and Dennis, do you know how many years have you been? It's like, I don't know, 6 years. Like, wow. Oh, shoot. So you're going to be in big trouble. So I just picked one topic and then just submit it. So I did my master's. And I might be the shortest PhD in the history of Purdue, might be. So total together was 7 years. My master was like 5-ish and my PhD was 2-ish. So
you couldn't decide on what you wanted to
I was so excited, like, this is fun. I have another idea. I want to do this. So I was like a kid in a candy store, in my lab.
Yeah.
We had, my friends, colleagues there to talk about things. There's machines, experiments on things. And yeah, I had a blast as a graduate student. I have a blast every day.
Yeah, it seems so. And then you started your lab, right?
That's correct.
So what did you wanted to work on in the beginning?
Yeah, so the lab is called Romella. So to be honest with you, I just fresh out of grad school, I became a professor, and I never even wrote a proposal before, right? So as you know, the first time you become a professor, you're untenured, the first thing you need to do is you need to bring in the research funding to do the things. And I sort of knew it, but I really didn't know how to pursue that. Like since I was 7 years old, I had a dream, roboticist, and I was following my dream, right? So from school, you follow a certain path, but after PhD, then you're on your own. So what do? So I always knew, first of all, because both of my parents were professors, I knew what your life was like as a professor, and I really liked it. But more important than that is I wanted to have my lab where I can create all different, creative robots that I always wanted to. And the only way to do it is really to be an academia, have your own lab. So that's why I created Romella. So...
All right, and did you have like a big vision for the lab, or did you just work on different topics in the beginning?
I mean, it's a podcast. I'm supposed to come up with a really cool answer, but I don't have that.
You don't have?
So I was a kid at the candy, so I just want to build things, and so I started with that. And even Romella, Romela, it's Robotics and Mechanisms Laboratory, right? So the original, the start was in the mechanism side of things. But as you know, our work now, it's we do everything. But it started with that. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And the Washington Post even called you the Leonardo da Vinci of robotics.
Oh!
So I would say mostly because you bring a lot of ingenuity to solving problems in robotics,
it was very flattering. So this was in the Washington Post magazine. It was the cover story, the cover story of the Washington Post magazine. And in the first article, you can look it up, it says, Dennis Hong is the Leonardo da Vinci of robotics.
How does that feel? That's
whoa,
nice,
whoa.
No?
So I've been actually thinking about what does it mean? What does it mean?
So I always thought that Leonardo da Vinci was the Leonardo da Vinci of robotics because he had all those.
He does robotics too,
right? Yeah.
So I don't think, again, this is just my guess. I don't think they said it because Dennis Hong's a genius or whatsoever. But I think Leonardo da Vinci, he does many things, right? He's an artist, he's an engineer, he's a sort of philosopher, and he does so many things. Maybe because I also like to do many things besides robotics. Maybe that's why they gave me the nickname. But anyway, either way, it made me feel very good.
I can imagine that. And you also created the first car which can be driven by blind people.
Yes.
I read. So how does it actually work? What kind of sensors does it have? And how can people actually drive with that?
Yeah, so among the 56 all different type of robots that we did, that had a very, very special meaning to me and had a very big impact on my future work. So 2007, you probably remember the DARPA Urban Challenge, right? The DARPA had the biggest, most audacious robotics competition, autonomous car race. So as a untenured, fresh assistant professor, I was the co-team leader from the team at Virginia Tech, and we placed third place, and that really put us on the map. It's like, oh, Romella, Dennis Hong, DARPA Robotics Challenge, DARPA, Urban, who's this? And people start to recognize us. So that really put us on the map. So right after that, the National Federation of the Blind, NFB, heard about this autonomous car. And they thought, hey, if the scientists and engineers can build a car that drives itself, maybe they can create a car for the visually impaired. So they announced this huge competition called the Blind Driver Challenge. And of course, I applied it. And at the time, I was thinking like, hey, I already built this autonomous car. We can just put the blind person and drive and we're done, right? And with this, I can get my tenure. And I couldn't be more wrong. I was completely wrong. What they wanted was not a car that drives a blind person around. They wanted a car where a blind person makes active decision and drive. How do you do that, right? If you ask people on the street, like, what do you think a blind person cannot do? And they say, oh, driving, right? Because driving requires the most, vision sense. So so it's when people see or hear about this project, but it was on this one was on the first page of Washington Post newspaper.
Again?
The newspaper this time. That was the magazine. This was a newspaper. And I gave the TED talk. I gave the TED 2011 main stage talk on this as well. Check it out. It's very it's touching. You'll like it.
Yeah.
So people, when they hear about this project, they think it's a project about vehicles, or they think it's a project about driving. No, it's about non-visual user interfaces. The whole key is, how do you convey information to a person who cannot see? Which means that you have to try to give information via non-visual means. What kind of things do you think? How would you approach this?
Well, I guess you need to
use other senses.
Use
right?
other senses like audio, like touch, taste, maybe even.
Yeah. So the
smell.
interesting thing is the very first thing that we tried is a audio cue. So there's like pinging sound to give the direction. But early on, we decided we are not going to do that. Early on, we decided that we are not going to use the audio channel, because the reason why we did this is really to give the visual impaired independence, right? To give them happiness. I want to show the world that visual impaired people are the same with us. They just cannot see, but they're same. But when we drive, you want to listen to music. You want to have a conversation with your friends. True. But if you start using the audio channel, we're taking away from them. So early on, we decided not to use the audio channel, right? Yeah. So believe me, we tried all crazy different things. Pants that put pressures on different things and all crazy stuff. But we ended up using 3 different devices. The one is a glove, and they vibrate on the knuckle part, which basically, so again, we had an autonomous car, right? So the car has, the driver cannot see, the car needs to see for the driver. We have LiDARs, we have, cameras and different things. And based on that, it creates a world model. And it can tell you how to turn the steering wheel by the vibration of the knuckles. Okay. Now, the chair also can vibrate at different patterns, stop, go, acceleration, and different patterns for different information. Only with those 2 devices, you can drive the car. But that is not what we want. If you do that, you're using the person as a drive-by-wire system. Is that freedom? No, it's like a backseat driver, like turn, stop, go, this devices. Yeah. So that's not what we wanted. So only with those 2 devices, you can drive, but we created another device called the AirPix. So it's like a tablet with thousands of holes, and compressed air shoots out, and you can actually draw images using compressed air. So if you put your hand over it, you can see the picture. Wow. So when you do a video game driving thing, you have the overview of the roads and the things. So you can drive that. So you put your hand. So the drive grip tells you turn left. You want to know why. You put your hand over here. Oh, because it's here. Oh, I want to go to the right. Then you can do to the right. So the glove and the chair is instructional devices, and this AirPix device is an informational devices. So with the combination, we're able to successfully do that.
Interesting. So basically, blind people could see things by just having their hand over this device.
That is correct.
And the air streaming out, and depending on how the air streams out, you can basically touch, see.
Yes. And it's actually a multi-dimensional. It's not just 2-dimensional, because you can change. We haven't implemented. We can change the temperature of the air. We can also change it to the frequency. So it could be a multi-dimensional device. So, yes, we did this for cars, for driving. But as I mentioned, there's actually deeper meanings why we wanted to do that. I always wanted to break the prejudice about the blind. I wanted regular people to see blind people driving on the street. That will change how people think about the blind. And if this non-visual user interfaces can work for driving, then basically can you use for anything else. Think about it in a classroom, and the teacher writes something on the blackboard, and a blind student can read that. How cool is that, right? So that's why we did it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then you had also a big success in RoboCup.
Yes.
Where basically we have robot playing soccers, and I think you won the kid-sized and adult-sized humanoid division.
6-time world champions. And the last one, 2024, last year, RoboCup, we won too. So 6-time world champions in the the humanoid division. And as you know, the offshore goal is by the year 2050, have a team of robots play soccer against the human World Cup champions and win. So, towards that goal, every year, new technology, new robots from all different research labs. So it's really not just a competition, as you probably know, it's also a conference as well. So it's a very, we share information, and it's a good benchmarking event, I would say, and also fun.
So towards the goal of 2050, having a
real soccer match,
real soccer match,
the real FIFA rule in the outdoors in a real soccer field against.
And you are basically currently at the top front of the people who could make this happen, right?
Yes.
So you're on number one place.
But I'm probably not making an official statement on the podcast, but after recording, I can tell you some things.
All right. And so what does it actually take to win those competitions? I mean, they're very competitive, many different research labs competing. So how do you manage those winning teams?
Yeah, so again, starting like this year, things change because now there's so many humanoid robots that can actually buy from Unitree and Booster Robotics and these kind of things. So now it's changing. Research labs, they actually buy these robots to do things. But even until last year, you had to build your own. So, we built our robot Artemis. At the time, it was the world's fastest walking robot. It's the first running robot from academia. And that's the one that won last year RoboCup. But, as you know, robots, even if they work very well in the lab, if you take it out of the lab, it doesn't work, right? You have experience. So, taking your robots out the lab and you need to travel to different countries. It goes around the world, right? So, reliability. It's a real world situation. It's not like, time, I need to reboot. That doesn't work. It's go, it needs to do things. And it's the real world testing. Yeah, that makes it a headache and challenging and makes it more interesting and exciting. So emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, there has been, you have done a lot of research on humanoid robots, right? And so recently, a lot of big companies have taken this technology and have big plans.
Yes.
So what kind of tasks do you think are achievable with those robots in the next decade?
Yeah, so by the way, on a side note, we were most well known for the platform development. We developed our own actuator, QD actuator called the Bear actuator. By the way, some of our students spun off a company called Westwood Robotics. And many times, so like 5 years ago, let's say, 5 years ago, a lot of research labs tried to build their own humanoid robots, but there's not a lot of success. And many times the reason is the hardware people just build a robot and then just toss it to the software people and they try to control it. And that doesn't work. When you want to design a dynamic physical robot, you really need to understand the mechanics, the dynamics. You have to understand things so that there's a reason why your center of gravity is here, the moment is as such. The link ratio. Only when you follow those understanding and implement it and optimize it, then your hardware is ready, and you have to work together with the control people to do it. But these days, it's changing a little bit with the whole data-driven reinforcement learning. I have some say on that too, but yeah.
And then it's very interesting because you have worked on very pioneering things like autonomous driving and humanoid robotics long before it even became actually cool or mainstream. So you have really, I would say, an instinct for breakthrough technologies. So what is your bet on what's going on?
Yeah, so if you look at my past 20-something career, you'll probably see an interesting pattern, right? So in the robotics community, depending on who you talk to, they know Dennis Hong as differently. Some people know me as a autonomous car pioneer. Some people know me as the soft robotics. That was my NSF Courier Award right away. Some people know me as this new type of locomotion, multimodal locomotion, crazy mechanism guy. And a lot of people know me as the humanoid guy. So, I like to start something and, I touch it and becomes success and becomes hot and everybody comes, it becomes hot. Like autonomous cars, right? We win the third place and the autonomous car becomes really hot and everybody comes to this field. Then I find it's not interesting anymore, so I move out. And then we worked on the user interface, which led to the blind driver challenge car. And then that field, user interface becomes really hot, so we move out. And then soft robotics move out and such. And then we're at the forefront in humanoid robots. And now, we're at the conference. There's humanoid robots everywhere. So I'm kind of like losing interest in this. And I think locomotion, bipedal locomotion is almost a solved problem. And I think we made a huge contribution to make that happen. So now I'm looking to the next thing. So I am not giving up on humanoid robot. We have some secret things that if I say in the podcast, people will copy. So I'm not going to directly say it. But to give you a hint, it's not about control. It's not about actuators. It's more about the structure of the humanoid robots. For example, I've always thought about this. Like when you cut yourself, you bleed and you self-healing. And just because you cut yourself doesn't mean that you die. But robotics, robot or human robot, if a wire gets cut, it just collapses. Yeah. So why is that? Is there a way to handle that, right? So we're looking into more of a structural material kind of thing. I'll just leave it up there. So that's that. But also I have the next big thing. You just saw my keynote that I talked about things. So
you're quite the artist now, right?
Yes. So again, when I talk about robotics, I'm really confident I can speak like this. But as an artist, I'm really small and I cannot yet. But I'm trying to use my knowledge and experience in robotics and create kinetic arts. And I'm off the record. I cannot name the name, but I'm working with a world famous kinetic artist for a very complex piece. And two of my pieces gonna be exhibited in one of the Biennales in Hong Kong. And then I'm also sort of working on my solo exhibition, hopefully sometime next year or a year after that. So arts, robotic arts, something
robotic
new.
Arts. Yeah. So what does art actually mean to you, and how do you want to express yourself through it?
So now this podcast becomes more of a philosophical arts discussion.
Well, yeah.
So again, we are robotics, and the people who are listening to this podcast most likely are scientists or engineers. And we think logically, like reason, but when we start talking about art, art is like this wishy-washy, not well-defined. And, some people feel, as engineers and scientists, feels very uncomfortable what this is, right? But what is it, right? So, since I was a kid, I always had this deep passion and love for art. I go to museums and, so, by the way, art doesn't have to be just beautiful, right? It doesn't have to be beautiful. But I tried to figure out, since I was a kid, I always asked these questions to myself. What is art? What does it mean to be, So I'm trying to compile that. And I need to have my own framework for art. Because if I really want to be a serious artist, and if I really want to create art that comes from the bottom of my heart, then I need to be comfortable with what I believe in art. So I sort of formulating my art framework, so to speak. We can talk about that a lot, but it's gonna take another hour or so.
Well, give me the small rundown of it.
So engineering is about solving problems. So engineering is to seek solutions, but art is the other way. Art asks questions. It's a different thing, right? So its approach is completely different. Also, art, I believe it's a medium for communication, right? So you walk down the street and there's a very pretty flower on the street. It's pretty. Is that art? No, that's nature. But a photographer takes a picture of that beautiful flower and frames it, then it becomes art. It's the same thing, right? But how come that's not art and how's this? Because the person who took the picture, there's intention and there's a message to it, right? So I'm trying, these kind of experience, I ask myself questions and I'm trying to formulate my own understanding or definition of art. So art is a medium to express it's a one-way communication from the artist to the audience, right? But it doesn't have to be pretty. But even for the aesthetics thing, I have my own thoughts from my experience. You've probably seen some of our robots that we designed, and when you look at them, they're beautiful. Do you agree? They're sexy, right? So
there's
some parts of it, but we didn't design it to make it look cool. That sexiness is not the objective. It needs to follow. It's a physical robot. It needs to follow the rules of physics, and we do analysis and optimization. And I truly believe that well-designed machines are sexy. Well-designed machines are sexy. From my 20-something years experience, that happens. So why is that? So I always try to ask that questions. Why does beauty emerge from this well-designed, optimized thing? So again, these are physical things that needs to obey the rules of physics and laws, like, this tree, right? It's beautiful. Is the branches and leaves random? No, there's a pattern. They need to try to maximize the getting the sunlight. And using those rules, it becomes, beauty emerges. So I have these kind of bits and pieces of my own definition of art. I would say components of art. So I'm still in the process of putting things together. Maybe I should write a book. And all the artists going to read it and they're going to laugh at me. But maybe engineers would appreciate it.
Well, yeah, do it. So you also entertain quite deep connections with Hollywood. So, for example, you built the Cosmo robot,
Yes.
which was featured in the movie The Electric State.
Yes, please watch it. It's on showing on Netflix. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, can you tell me a bit how you established your connection to Hollywood in the first place?
Yeah, so it's been 11 years since I moved to UCLA, and LA is in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is Hollywood, right? So in the past 10 years, I really tried to connect the film industry and robotics because, again, I started as my love for Star Wars. That started. So like science fiction movie is dear to my heart. And I actually got a chance to meet a lot of famous directors and producers and casting directors. And I show them our robots, and everybody loves them. Jumping, climbing robots, like, wow, Dr. Hong, this is fantastic. And then I try to pitch some ideas, and they all say no. Because they said, oh, Dr. Hong, we love our robots, your robots, but we don't have any use in the film industry because we use computer graphics and they have green screen. So they completely ignored and declined all my things. Until 2 years ago, I met the Russo brothers. You probably know Russo brothers. They're the famous directors from the Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, among many other movies. And of course, they use computer graphics for their movies. But this time, our approach was different. Okay, for the movie, use computer graphics. But when the movie comes out at the red carpet and these events, how cool would it be if a real robot from the movie comes out and greets people? And they absolutely loved it, so we decided to pursue this project. So in this, the movie, the main character is a robot called Kid Cosmo. So we built a real-life walking, interacting Kid Cosmo, and we had a blast. Blast, a lot of headaches too. But
yeah, and so of course one of the big problems is how do you control it? How do you do locomotion there? Right?
Yeah. So again, assuming that the podcast listeners are roboticists, so the traditional way, like the past 100 years, are we engineers try to make machines move using traditional control. We know and understand the physics. We use the rules of physics. We use mathematics as the language, and we create a mathematical model and we control it. That's how your cars and airplanes fly and robots move. We've been doing that for the past 100 years. And now, the past 2-3 years, suddenly this data-driven method, this learning-based approach appears. And it's nuts, right? Reinforcement learning, these robots jump, flip, and it's every week I open YouTube and there's a new robot doing crazy stuff. And it's just amazing, right? So in our lab, we built 2 identical Cosmo robots. And our lab, Romela, we divided our robot team to 2 teams, Team A and Team B. And Team A is working on Cosmo, trying to make it walk using model-based approach, MPC control. Right? And Team B, they're doing reinforcement learning. So we have an internal competition. And we're learning a lot about these 2 approaches. But stay tuned. It's still ongoing.
Well, tell me who's winning. Who is in the lead?
So the model-based, the MPC-based control robots start to walk first. But again, it's also because it's also based on our Artemis robot bipedal locomotion control, because also that. Now, the learning-based, the reinforcement learning-based robot is not walking yet. Or it's taking steps, I would say, but it's not like walking outdoors. One of the reasons is not really the theoretical things, but when you test it, it just goes nuts and it breaks. So every time you try to do something, it just kicks the ground and it breaks itself. So you have to fix it. So I think that's a big reason why it's being delayed. But once everything's done, the reinforcement learning method might be performing much better than the MPC method.
Oh, so you think reinforcement learning is the one
performance-wise? However, as an educator, I have a big problem with that. Like, let's talk about bipedal locomotion. We're talking about walking, right? So the traditional method, the model-based approach, to make this robot walk, we need to understand the physics, the dynamics. And so when this robot walks, when I see it, I know what's happening. If it falls, I know why it fell. when something breaks, I can figure things out, and I have a gut feeling of I understand the physics of it, so I can using that knowledge, I can make better prosthetic legs or different type of robots. But in general, like loosely speaking, these learn data-driven methods, many times even if you don't know physics or math, if you just have data and just put data in, it does things, it works. Yay, hooray. But there's no human learning, right? You don't understand how it works. If it breaks, you don't know why it failed or how to fix it, but it works. And as an educator, I have a big problem with that. Right? So
it's true. Yeah. And it also reminds me of the bitter lesson from Richard Sutton, who said, time and time again, he comes back and he finds that we just need more data, and this is enough to actually make things scale and make things work.
Yeah. So again, it is an exciting time, and there's got to be some kind of combination and some So if I talk to my colleagues and let's talk about humans, right? How do we walk? Do you calculate things when you take steps? No. Since you're a baby, you crawl and then you try to take your first step and fall down. And that is learning-based walking, and we do fine. So some might say like, hey, humans, we do it. Why not? Why is that approach wrong for robots? But, makes sense too.
Yeah, for sure. And so something which a lot of people don't know about you is that you're also a serious gourmet chef.
Oh, chef, yes.
So how often do you cook, and what are your special meals?
Yeah, so I cook every day, almost every day, I should say. It's not always fancy, but when I have friends or family come over, sometimes do an 8-course degustation menu. So I'm pretty serious. I have my chef suit and things like that.
That sounds extremely serious. Yeah.
After like 5:30 p.m. when I come home, I stop by the grocery store or farmer's market, and I don't plan ahead. I just buy whatever's fresh. I go to farmer's. I just buy whatever's fresh, and I come home and I spread all the ingredients on. I have a huge island in my kitchen, and I improvise, and that's the fun part. So if you know the characteristic of the ingredients and the cooking process in your head, you synthesize it. And it's like designing a robot. You have constraints and you have things, and in your head you like, oh, with this I can do this and saute that, and then in your head you picture this the dish that you create, and then in your head you eat it, and the texture changes with temporal, the flavor, and that's what you envision. And when you cook it and you eat it, if it agrees, then you get this. Like a high kind of thing, right? So I really enjoy that. And it's great, sharing love with your family, enjoying giving happiness. How cool is that?
Yeah, for sure. So you don't need any recipes anymore.
No,
it's all in your head, basically.
That is correct. So there's also downside. So my wife, like, she says, hey, honey, can you cook me that thing from like such and such? I don't know. There's no recipe, right? So it's only a one-time thing.
All right.
And I don't succeed all the time. My son Ethan, he's a very honest judge, and if it's I have to also admit sometimes like.
So you have a real reward signal if it's good or bad.
And sometimes there's I'm really like pushed to the limit, and then I can't eat it. So then we go out for In-N-Out or Chinese steak. I don't know.
All right. But you have been very successful. You were even on the television series MasterChef USA.
Oh, yes. It's kind of embarrassing.
So tell me a little bit about how this came to be.
Yeah. So you know the MasterChef USA, the USA version with Gordon Ramsay. So I was on season 4 of MasterChef USA. Now, unfortunately, I cannot talk about all the juicy details about it because I signed the NDA. But it's, but anyway, I was on the show. And as a matter of fact, I actually built a robot for the show. It's called Carl, C-A-R-L, Culinary Assisted Robotic Limb. I made a sous chef, but I cooked together with the robot. But they didn't show the robot for certain reasons. So I'll talk about that after this podcast recording. I'll tell you some interesting things.
All right.
But this one actually, so the reason why I did this, because, yes, I'm a hobbyist chef, but, I'm too busy. I cannot really do this show. I was a professor at Virginia Tech, and it was filming in LA. It's a tournament, so if I continuously win, I have to be in LA for like 8 weeks, and I cannot afford. So I declined initially, but later on, there's an opportunity to actually build a robot for the show as a sous chef, and I saw that's a great way to show the world of what we're trying to show, the vision of what we're trying to do. And as a matter of fact, that led to a really big project. It's called the Project Yori. We built a cooking robot. Now, this was a pretty big project. I'm sure that you saw a cooking robot. There's a like pizza making robot, chicken frying robot, burger flipping robot, coffee making robots. Those are all single taskers, right? It's a robot, industrial robot or a cobot, and they try to mimic how humans cook, and they just do one thing. Our robot system is a completely different approach. Our robot called Project Yori, you can look it up in the YouTube, is a robot that theoretically can cook anything. This is not a robot for a kitchen. It's just too big and too expensive. It's probably not even for a kitchen, for a restaurant. It's for a automated ghost kitchen, right? So think of it it's like a big CNC machine. So you have this factory with a bunch of these CNC machines, and use your app to customize your food, and it makes it, and then a delivery robot delivers to you. So that's the concept. So we built this robot called Yori. It cooks different type of pastas, steak frites, and the baking. But again, if you have a recipe or thing, you can modify it or reprogram it to make it to anything.
So, but what is the input to this robot? So basically, can I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I buy some tomatoes and fill them into
very good
one?
Question. So it depends what's the input and output. By the way, we spend more time on doing research on cooking than research on robotics. Seriously, when we start project, we start with a question, right? So for this project, we started with the thought that this is not going to be a single tasker. So how do you approach it? So we asked, if a robot's going to cook, how would it cook, right? We use fry pans and pots and pans and cutting boards and knives. But if you think about it, those are tools designed for humans. So if a robot's going to cook, maybe we don't need any of those. Maybe we don't even need hands. As a matter of fact, our robot does not have any hands. Our robot does not use even industrial robots. We from the ground up, everything, including the actuators, are custom built for this specific task. So it does have arms, but it has quasi-direct drives. But for example, it doesn't have hands. It has a tool changer like a CNC machine. Like if you need a whisk, a whisk. If it needs a knife, knife attaches to the thing. And I'll talk about this too. So mobile robots, right? They work in a structured environments pretty easily, but when you take it outdoors in unstructured environments, they suffer. Robots don't like unstructured environments.
For sure.
Yeah, but cooking robot, it's stationary, right? So it's not, it's a structured environment. But what's the difficulty? It doesn't move around, but the ingredients it deals with is unstructured ingredients. A lettuce piece, leaf of lettuce, chicken breast. So when you move that cut, you slip and you spill. So that's where the headache happens. So like, for example, we have this really clever, like a bunch of clever ideas. Like for example, we don't have pots or pans or fry pans. We designed this really specific, I would say it's a container. So once these unstructured ingredients go inside this container, it does not leave the container until the food is all done and prepared. So the container moves around at the end of the arm, kind of thing. You see it? So we have these like clever ideas. And for example, you're driving and you're using your navigation system, and if there's an accident, you do your GPS does real-time replanning. Same thing with our robot. It's cooking, and if it drops something or something happens, it's intelligent enough to do a real-time replanning to do the task.
And is the system also very easy to clean, or?
Oh, so again, I also want to make it clear. This was phase one, and it's a prototype. The idea is that it does have arms, but there's a compressed air and water coming out, and it's supposed to be all like a waterproof. So after it's done, it's like self-cleans everything. But we have not implemented that, and we have a place for a dishwasher that is supposed to dump everything, but that was not implemented, to make it clear. Yeah.
In something also very interesting is that you're also known for doing magic tricks.
You did a homework.
And you even give lectures on the science of magic. So when did you first come into contact with magic, and what fascinates you about
so again, this was long time ago when I was an elementary school student. Again, I grew up in Korea. And at the time in Korea, the magic was not this like hobby. It didn't exist. And my father, he traveled a lot for business, different countries. And once he bought those, those cheesy, magic kits that everybody has as a kid. I'm sure that you had these like magic kit thingy. Yeah. And he bought me that. And it was kind of cool. So I go to school and show it to my friends, and all of my friends were like, "Holy crap! How do you do that?" And they loved it. So after that, every time my father went on a business trip, I asked him to buy me more like these magic apparatus that you can buy at a toy store. And then I became quite serious. So he started to buy me books, and I studied magic. So many times when I perform magic, it's magic that I created that nobody has seen before.
So you must have really been the most popular kid in school, no?
Yes. Now I also use it for like when you go on a date. I'm saying too many things on the podcast, but only one person in the entire world was never impressed with my magic. And that person is actually my wife. She's my wife now.
All right. Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about the science of magic?
Yeah. So it's really psychology. And so there's stage magic and there's close-up magic. For the layperson, it's different scale, but it's actually different approaches and different theories to it. And many times, again, you're not supposed to, reveal a secret of the magic, but many times it has to do with the apparatus itself. And sometimes, many times with close-up magic, it has to do with some psychology stuff. So I talk about those things in the lecture that I give. I don't do it anymore. It's been quite a while, but I used to do a charity magic lecture. And we sell tickets and we donate all the proceedings. So it's really a magic show packaged as a science and psychology kind of thing.
Nice. And you have been also on the Netflix show Magic for Humans.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Magic for Humans with Justin Willman. So that was kind of fun.
And you presented your robot.
Yeah. So technically, I was not the magician. Justin Willman is a world-famous magician. And the story goes like, he's really curious about different things. He travels around the world. And one day he heard about this like AI and robots and he got scared. So he wanted to talk to an expert. So he comes to our lab. And he learns that I'm a magician as well. So he gives me a challenge. Dennis, Dr. Hong, build a magic performing robot. I'll be back in 4 weeks. And he comes back and then we already built a robot called Magi. And we have a magic battle. But again, watch it on Netflix. It's season 1, episode 4, maybe. Anyway, check it out.
All right.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Can you do some magic tricks on the spot?
I could, but number one, it's been a while, and again, we're in China here. I don't do. What do we? So yeah, I could have water. But do you have any? Probably not card. Do you have any coins?
I do have coins. Yeah.
Okay.
How many coins do you want?
Give me 4 coins.
4 coins. All right.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh. Okay. These are what? These are Chinese yuan, right? Okay. So normally I do this with pennies. Okay. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have 4 coins. Nothing in my hands. Now, these are not trick coins. You brought it, right? So these are not trick coins, for obviously. Okay? Now, put 1 coin in my hand and put 1 coin in my hand. Yep. There. These are a little bit heavy.
All
I'm
right.
not sure if I can do it, but I'll try it. Again, I usually do it with pennies.
Yeah.
Put 1 coin on top, put 1 coin on top.
Just like that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Look carefully. I'm only do it once. I'm going to flip. Oh, shit, I made a mistake. Let's do it again. It's a little bit, it's hard. Do you have smaller coins by any
I
chance?
have also smaller coins.
Okay, let's try it one more time. And then if it doesn't work, then we'll do it, okay? So look carefully. I'm going to, okay. Carefully.
Wow. Not bad.
Again, these are not trick coins. You brought it.
Yeah,
This is like Chinese yuan. We're in China, by the way, right now, right?
So just for the answer, so the great Stephen Laval actually told me that once the longer his career went, the more the metric for success actually shifted for him. So in the beginning, it was cumulative. So basically, he just counted up all the achievements and added them up. But later, he actually found that it was more following like the maximum function, where 1 or 2 achievements really defined his success and legacy. So, do you feel similar about your work? And if yes, what would the maximum function return on your achievement?
I am a very simple person, right? So, I have a lot of friends who are rich. I'm not the richest person, but I can say with confidence I'm one of the happiest person in the entire world.
It seems definitely
I immensely enjoy everything I do. The school shouldn't know, but I'll do the same thing even if they don't pay me. But that's a secret. Oh, I already said it on podcast. I'm in trouble. So I was born. I didn't have any choice. The birth was, life was given to me. And one day I'm going to die, right? I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So from birth to death, in that time, it's given to me. And when you integrate happiness, I want to maximize my happiness until I die. Okay, sounds okay, makes sense. But it sounds really like greedy or cold. Like, Dennis, he wants to have his happiness maximized. It's true, but I noticed that I'm most happy when I make other people happy. Like I started Magic. Why? I want to wow people and entertain people. Why am I doing robotics? Because it's fun, yeah. To make money, not really. You don't become a professor if you want to make money. I truly, not only by our students, we truly believe that the technology that we build will benefit the society and make people happy. It might sound cheesy, but that's what we truly believe, right? Cooking. Why am I cooking? I want to spread the love and joy and happiness. So I am most happy when I try to make others people happy. And that's probably the secret of my quote-unquote success. So what do we mean by success? Success is you achieve your goal, right? So in general, when you say, he's very successful, then many times it's like, he's very rich. It means something, he's rich. Or for academic, it's he has the, Nobel Prize or something like that. So success means it's really your value. What's most important in your life? If you achieve that is success. For me, it's not the money. It's not the fame. For me, it's
feeling good, basically.
Yeah. And I'm that every day. Yeah. So I'm the most successful person in the entire universe. Not the richest.
Yeah, just beautiful. And I would say that is a great time to wrap it up. So thank you so much for coming, Dennis. It was an absolute honor to have you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Hong.
Thank you very much. That was fun.
Thank you.